Hey guys, this is Josh, and I'm going to be teaching you about essential documents, both when placing an offer and then also in order to get paid. Y'all want paid, right? All right, let's do this. So here in Central Ohio at Keller Williams, we're working on dotloop right now. We may jump over to DocuSign. When that happens, we'll jump over and do a video for DocuSign. But as of right now, let's just jump into dotloop and get started. So we're going to assume that you're placing an offer on a home. This is your first offer. You don't know what the heck you're doing. Let's teach you real quick. There are several documents that will be required. I will do a separate video for how to write an offer because it can be a little bit confusing or lengthy. So first thing we need to do is add a loop. So we are going to click here. And for the sake of this practice, we're just going to do 123 Main Street. When you go to enter in your loop, it'll likely auto-populate a loop that's already been started by another agent, like the listing agent. So we're going with this one. Let's just pretend it says Columbus there. Continue. Now, two options here. Is it a listing loop or a buyer's loop? Duh. We're the buyers. We want to be the buyer's loop. Once we've done that, you do not need to upload a photo. If you really want to be an overachiever, feel free, but we're not that. So 123 Main Street, we can either enter into the loop via clicking the loop or view loop. Doesn't matter which. When you jump in here, there are a bunch of documents that will auto-populate. If we are placing an offer, then we will have to, here in Central Ohio, we just brought in a new purchase contract. So we are going to have to add that document, which is great because I'll show you how. But some things that you're going to want to make sure are filled out prior to even jumping into the documents are your people. This will make your life a little bit easier. So if you scroll down, you'll see a big old portion here that's called people. Well, I'm the agent. I'm going to make sure that I am showing as the buyer's agent. There will be another agent here in an actual valid loop, and they will already be assigned as the listing agent. We want to add our buyers. So let's just say I have one buyer. I'm going to add the person. We'll just say it's John Smith. John Smith, and then we'll add his email, and his role is going to be the buyer. Okay, we'll add the person. Nuts. We'll just say former buddy of mine here at the office. He's the buyer. You don't need to fill all this stuff out. It's not going to be on the contract, and it doesn't matter. Save yourself some time. When I first got started, I used to fill everything out because I thought it was important. It ain't. So we've got the person in there. Great. Now we're going to be able to auto-populate a lot of this stuff, which is cool. Very first thing you're going to need to be compliant with Columbus Board of Realtor Standards is to have the Consumer Guide to Agency Relationships filled out. This is super easy. Click on it. The Consumer Guide is a very high-level description of how agency works in Central Ohio. So basically it means that I'll be representing the buyer, the selling agent will be representing the seller, unless I'm doing both, which is called dual agency. And this just provides some verbiage here. Now, you'll see these two little boxes here. Buyer, we need to click on this box, come up here, assign it to my buyer. It's very simple. This is an initial box. If this says buyer, I like to just either exit it out or go over here and assign it to no one so it doesn't confuse my buyer. For this one, we're just going to go no one. So John will only initial right in this box. And then we scroll down and make sure that I sign. And then I'll fill this out right here, Josh, none, yes, sir. And then we'll fill this out with John. And make sure that we click here. And make sure that John is assigned there. Again, to avoid confusion, we can click this. We'll just exit it out. So once we're done, we're just going to save. I don't like to save and share because I like to share all the documents needed at the same time. So we're going to save, always save in dotloop because it doesn't typically auto-save. Important fact there. We're going to go back. Cool. We've got the number one thing that we need. Now there's a couple other things that we want to always submit with an offer. Number one, the agency disclosure form. Okay, so we'll pop that open. Now this says property address, type it in. Buyer, we'll just say John Shannon, whoever your buyers are. If there's two of them, say John Shannon and Shirley Shannon. The sellers, I don't typically put that in. Buyer will be represented by myself, so I put my name in here, through Keller Williams Excel Realty, that's my brokerage, and then I'd look up the listing agent's name and brokerage and put it in here. These two sections are unique because they don't typically happen, but if they do, you'll be able to speak to it and make sure that your clients fill this out appropriately. Buyer, boom, highlight it, assign it. I don't have two buyers in this transaction, so I'm just going to exit it out. And then for this is for the seller. I'm going to assign these to no one. Pretty simple, right? And once I'm done, save, get back out of there. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that if there is a property disclosure attached to the listing, or if there's a lead-based paint disclosure, that I import those things. What I'll do is go to the listing, download it to my computer, then come back to Dotloop, add document, browse, find it within my computer, and then once I've done that, I can actually drag and drop and edit those forms to make sure that they are ready to be signed and initialed. But we want to add the purchase contract. So templates, if you go to, for us right now, it is standard KW Excel buying. These are templates that have already been written out. This is the 2020 purchase contract. Boom. Copy. Okay. And boom, it's there. Sweet. Now we can start filling this out. Now, hopefully you've watched my offer strategy video. It was 6 minutes long, so it's an easy watch to get your buyers prepared for how to best tackle this offer. Now, you've also probably run some comps, determined if this is a good value, determine what you want to offer with your buyers, and any terms and conditions. So once we know that information, we're going to click this up, and then the opportunity comes to autofill. This is a big time save, so I recommend doing it. Buyer one, boom. Agent here. The other agent will automatically pop up here. Then we come down to the address. Make sure you add the parcel ID. This is a legal description from like the auditor's site or from the listing. Then it has my information. It's not actually important to have every piece of information, but it should auto-populate. Financials. We're going to talk purchase price. So let's say this home's priced at $250,000. So I'm going to do the $, 250,000 and 0 cents. Earnest money. You all know what earnest money is, and if not, holler at me or look it up. Earnest money, let's just say they want $1,000. Well, on this contract, it's kind of weird. You don't need to put the $, so $1,000. You also don't need to put the cents there. Closing date. Typical closing dates, 30 to 45 days. It is what it is with you guys. If the agent that is selling the home says that they want to close quick, I'd recommend 30 days. If they say they don't mind and they would like a longer closing date, whatever it may be, you determine. But this calendar will automatically pop up and you can fill in whatever it is you want. Buyer information, again, you don't need their phone number, their address, all that jazz. Offer expiration date. There's some strategy involved here. Do you want to close, or do you want to not give them a large window to respond? Do you want to give them a long window because they've asked for a long window to respond? Whatever it is, you determine that and you put that in here. I always put a date and a time. Very important. Date and a time. Cool? Occupancy date. Here in Central Ohio, very typical to give somebody possession post-closing. What this means is you don't get the keys at closing, as we traditionally have in the past, but maybe give them 3 days to move their stuff out. When writing an offer, this can be a nice addition to the contract to give them a little peace of mind knowing that they won't have to get out right before closing. Property includes. I always write the same verbiage here. Unless there's something crazy, I always write all fixtures viewed in the home on whatever date it is. So let's just say it's today. Today's date is the 13th, 2020. Always include the year. This is very legal, so we want to make sure we're there. Including all kitchen appliances, light fixtures, window hardware, and then anything else that maybe your client wants. Maybe there's a hot tub. Maybe there's a a fridge in the basement that they'd like to keep. Write that in there now. Property excludes, very rarely do I write anything in here unless the listing literally says property excludes the storage shed or the refrigerator in the basement. That's when I type this in here. Once we're done, we just click autofill, and then you'll be taken to the actual purchase contract. We want to sift through this and make sure it's filled out appropriately. So we see 123 Main Street. We see the date. We make sure we clean this up and fill all these spaces in. We'll do a separate how to write up a listing or a purchase contract document on another video. But for sake of this video, we're going to pretend that this has been done and we know what we're doing. So we've got the purchase contract, we've got consumer guide that's going to be signed by now, and then we've got the agency disclosure, and we've got the lead-based paint and property disclosure. The last thing that you need to submit for an offer is your pre-approval letter. So you would get that emailed to you by your client. You download that to your computer, and then you would add the document right here. Boom. Once you've got all those things, you need signatures. So we're going to click the bullet point. We'll pretend this has already been signed. You'll bullet point the things that you want to send, and then you're going to click the share. It'll automatically come up with the buyer. Can sign, that's great. And I always like to attach the PDF. And then you'll click share, and it'll automatically be sent to that person, and they will be able to sign those documents. Typically, I call the person and say, hey, you ready to rock? Do you need any explanation for these things? If so, just ask. If not, please sign. Get those back to me as soon as possible so we can get your offer submitted. Those are the things you need to submit an offer. Cool? Pretty easy, right? Now, what do you need to get paid? Very basic here. You need the consumer guide, electronic signature, anti-fraud, and one thing that's not in here that you would need to add, appointment of agent. Go to templates. You can go to standard KW Excel buying, and then go to appointment of agent. Click that, copy. These are all the things that you need in order to get paid. These are the 4 minimum items. So, appointment of agent, consumer guide, electronic signature, anti-fraud. You'd also have, obviously, the purchase contract, the agency disclosure, the LBP, the RPD, etc. Those are the 4 documents you need to get paid. So if you have any questions about this or anything else, you know who to contact, and you can reach out to me at any time. Make sure, if you haven't already, you like and subscribe to this page so you get access to all the new videos that we come out with and the easy learning opportunities. Thank you guys. Talk to you later.